Across the UK, we're keeping a close ear on what's happening in Dubai at COP28. We've heard America committing to the idea of phasing out coal power plants, joining 56 other nations in kicking the habit that's a big factor in global warming. The US Special Envoy John Kerry announcing Washington is joining the Powering Past Coal Alliance, which means the Biden administration commits to building no new coal plants and phasing out existing ones. No date was given for when the existing plants will have to go. But other Biden regulatory actions and international commitments already in the works have meant no coal by 2035. The US Vice President Kamala Harris has been speaking about it as well. Let's speak now on LBC News to Stephanie Akruma, who's a climate activist and is director of the Centre for Green Growth, a Ghana-based climate NGO, and you're speaking to me live in Dubai. Thanks for your time, Stephanie.
Thank you very much for inviting me here, and I'm happy to speak to you and your audience.
Great stuff. So first of all, you're in Dubai. What's the main chatter, the main talk about, the main focus?
And this year's COP is focused mostly on climate financing, which is very crucial for the work we do because everything rests on financing. So if you're going to be able to achieve any of the results or the things that we're talking about, it's financing. The COP started off very strong with the Loss and Damage Fund initiated very strongly by the COP28 presidency, and then they came up with a lot of pledges, so you can see that financing has taken center stage, and we hope that it keeps going at the same pace as it says, or even better, because again, the problems that the climate crisis has caused for less developed countries, or a lot of countries across the world, is the financing nature of things. So we need to finance some of these initiatives to make things better. So yes, it is good that it's looking towards that direction, and we're hoping to see a lot more commitment from countries, especially in the global West, to make these initiatives stand on their own and be able to move forward properly.
Yeah, so the UAE president announcing a $30 billion, £23.7 billion fund for global climate solutions. We heard Rishi Sunak was speaking about the importance that the UK is a leader in cutting emissions, announcing £1.6 billion in funding for domestic renewable energy commitments. How important was it when we learned the leaders of more than 130 countries have agreed a major declaration on the future of food and farming?
Okay, it's very important that the 1.6 billion was pledged. However, the problem here is that, of course, after they've made the pledges, the question is about the fulfillment of these pledges to farming, to food. Of course, food systems have been highly affected, especially in areas where there are floods, in areas where there are droughts. You'd realize that the food system, food security is highly affected. So all of these conversations are necessary. My question is, or what I'm focusing on is, how are these pledges going to be fulfilled? We have pledged a lot of things over the years. We've pledged on adaptation financing, we come and say these very beautiful, elaborate things. We're giving money for this, the politicians' favorite words. But what we need is to see the commitments actually happening. When you pledge, you put your money where your mouth is. You say this, you do it. That is what we are looking forward to.
Yeah, because we look at the Paris Agreement, there are other meetings that are taking place where they have the leaders have put out the message, as you say, promises to do this, pledges to do that. But sometimes that message just fades away into the background and the commitment isn't fulfilled. Is it time for tougher agreements, more frameworks that perhaps have a legal background?
We know that even in as much as we can even develop probably tougher agreements or some frameworks that would make people actually do what they say, in the end, the decision is left with the leader or the politician that has made that pledge. Countries are sovereign. No matter what you do, they can come and say what they want to say, but you can't put knives on their throats to do it. We have to push, especially as citizens, as people in the background. We have to push our leaders to actually make sure that these commitments they make are actually implemented. So we are touched in terms of bringing leaders into power, in terms of putting them and saying that this is who we are selecting. We need to say, okay, you know what? If you have very special climate commitments, if you're concerned about the environment, and you say these things and you're likely to put this through, we're going to vote for you again. That kind of thing. So we need to be able to say these things and push them by other means, because even when we bring very stringent agreements and say, okay, you have to do this, it's tied to do that, it's tied to do that, they will still have to make the decisions in the end. They will look at their countries. So citizens and people are going to be some of the best people to push our leaders to get some of these things done.
And finally, can you tell me what was the reaction from people you've been speaking to at the summit to King Charles III opening the conference, saying it's a turning point? What's been the reaction? Does his words hold weight?
Anybody that can give us hope is important. So the words of hope are important. So the reaction is as part of the momentum, as part of the environment here. You can see that any sort of issue that gives hope and faith. And yes, of course, we are dreadfully off track. In his words, we are dreadfully off track. And so hope and the need to actually go beyond a few words and actually get some things into the right space and push it politically from their side, from his influence, would actually really help move things forward.
Thank you very much for joining me live this Saturday. Stephanie Akrumah, climate activist and director of the Centre for Green Growth.
The news in 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes. LBC News.